What is up, college football fans? What is up, Clemson Tiger fans? Happy Sunday to everybody. I'm moving in slow motion today, buddy. I'll go ahead and admit it right now. I tied one on last night. But holy crap, what a day of college football. What a season of college football so far. And we're about halfway done already. Can you believe that? About halfway through the regular season already. It comes and it goes quickly, son. But anyway, like I always say, it's a beautiful day here in the low country of South Carolina. Every day above ground is a great day as far as I'm concerned. And every day is a great day to be a Clemson Tiger. First of all, shout out to Stanford. Shout out to Stanford. Stanford has been through hell in the past 2 weeks. They had to travel to Syracuse, which nobody wants to travel to Syracuse. And I'm not talking about football. I'm talking about just in general. Nobody wants to go to Syracuse, New York. So shout out to them for that. They went up there, got a win on the road against Syracuse, then traveled back to California, then had to come back out again to play Clemson this week in the midst of a hurricane. So they didn't even get into Clemson until late Friday, and they had to play a game on Saturday evening. Now, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think they should have played this game. For those of you in the upstate, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm lucky. I'm down here in the low country of South Carolina. We got the least bad part of that storm. I mean, we had some heavy rain and wind and all that, but nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing like what the upstate saw and Georgia saw and parts of North Carolina saw. So we got lucky down here, but the entire area surrounding Clemson, especially in the Greenville area, is absolutely decimated. They still don't have power, trees down everywhere. I mean, it's just a total mess. No gas. People can't get gas. I think they probably should have postponed this game. But anyway, I can go on for an hour about that. But the fact of the matter is they played the game anyway, and Clemson dominated the game. Now, Cade Klubnik continues to progress. I think that yesterday was probably his worst game outside of the Georgia game because, look, he had 4 or 5 touchdowns, so you can't complain about that. He did throw one interception that wasn't great. His completion percentage, he's like 15 of 31. Now, that reminds me, Phil Maffa. This offense still runs through Phil Maffa. Cade Klubnik is starting to climb up and appear on Heisman lists now. Have you guys seen this? Cade Klubnik, the quarterback that everybody said was one of the worst in football, and he should be benched for Trent Pierman after the spring game, more on that in a minute, is on Heisman lists about halfway through the season now. But a lot of the reason is because they're throwing it 30 and 40 times a game when they don't need to. They don't need to. Phil Maffa only got 10 carries yesterday. I was yelling at the TV, run the ball, which is par for the course for me. I love to run the football. Maybe I'm old school. I don't know. Everyone likes the big flashy, 50 and 60-yard passing plays, one-handed catches and circus catches and all that crap. I like to see you line it up and run it down somebody's throat. That's what I like to see. And we got a guy that can do it. And here's the other thing, too. They only ran him 10 times, and I don't even know if 5 of those were up between the tackles. They were doing some weird stuff with Mafia yesterday. I don't know if they were trying to, kick the tires and just, expand their horizons or get cute with him. I don't know what they were doing. They were doing a lot of pitch. They were trying to get him out on the edge. He's not an edge rusher. He's a between the tackles, down the hill runner. I don't know what they were doing with Mafia yesterday. Anyway, he finished with 58 yards or something, 10 carries, 5.8 yards per carry, something like that. And of course, Cade Klubnik threw for 250 yards, 4 touchdowns, an interception. So all in all, a great game by Clemson. But also, if I got a nitpick here about this team and where they're headed, or where I hope they're headed, defense is going to have to tighten up. I mean, Stanford, if you look at the scoreboard, it's misleading. It looks like Clemson just went in there and put their foot on their neck. Stanford was moving the ball at will. I didn't even look at see how many offensive yards Stanford had. Stanford had more third down conversions. I think they had more yards. They had more time of possession. Really what this game came down to was the turnovers. Stanford turned the ball over, was it 4 times? 3 or 4 times? That was the difference in the game. Clemson only turned it over 1 time. Stanford turned it over 3 times. And they turned it down in the red zone a couple times too. So Defense got to tighten up. Defense got to tighten up big time. Tackling is a big problem in the past couple of games. I don't even know how you fix that right now this late in the season. But the tackling this is the worst tackling Clemson football team I've seen in over 10 years probably. Since before Brent Venables got there. So I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, this defense is way too talented to be looking the way that they're looking against somebody like Stanford. And I'm not crapping on Stanford here. I'm just saying that game should have not even been. Stanford should not be able to move the ball like that on Clemson. If Clemson gets into a situation down the road, they've still got to play against Louisville, whose offense is really good. South Carolina at the end of the year, and they got to go on the road to Pittsburgh too. Now the next 3 weeks, not much really to write home about the next 3 weeks for Clemson, but then they got Louisville. Then it gets a lot tougher, is what I'm trying to say. Then they got Louisville, and I think they got Citadel or something. Then they got to go to Pitt. Then they got South Carolina, whatever. That's like their last 4 games of the year. So they got to tighten up because there's a couple of teams on that run at the end of the season. If they don't get their shit together defensively, they might find themselves up against on the ropes, and they can't afford to lose another game or two if they're looking at making the 12-team playoff. I know I'm looking way too far ahead now, but it is what it is. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, they forced a bunch of turnovers. That's great, but how much of that was on Stanford? I think a lot of that was on Stanford. But anyway, Clemson gets it done again, covers the spread, blowout fashion. The whole 9 yards. Next week, I'm about to pass out. Next week, Florida State. I'm disappointed, man. I mean, I know it's fun for us Clemson people to sit and point and laugh at Florida State, especially with all of the stuff that we heard in the offseason from Florida State fans, and not even just Florida State fans, but other fans, just Clemson hater fans, about how Clemson's, gone, Dabo's done, he's gone the way of the dinosaur, there's a new sheriff in town, his name is Mike Norvell, we went out and got DJ, we're going to show you how DJ actually really is a good quarterback. He wasn't at Clemson, but we're going to show you what a real coach can do with him. Florida State's taking Clemson's place at the top of the ACC. I mean, you just go down the list. They were talking about national championships. It was insane. Florida State is unbelievably bad. I mean, if you would have told me how bad they were before the season started, I wouldn't have believed you. If you would have told me Florida State didn't win the ACC and Clemson did or Miami did, I would have believed that. I'd be like, yeah, it's possible. If you would have told me that Florida State has one win halfway through the season, I would have told you were full of crap. They got blown out by SMU. SMU is not very good. SMU is not very good. I mean, I'm sorry. I hate to do this before the game because, jinxing and all that. I'm sure if something happens during the game, it will come back to haunt me next week by all of you. But look, Clemson could win this game by as many points as they want to win by. Clemson could score 100 points on Florida State. Florida State is the worst team in the Power 4. They're the worst team in the Power 4. How in the hell they beat Cal, I don't know. Cal should have blown them out too. That's how bad they are. And look, man, for the life of me, I can't imagine what is possessing Mike Norvell to keep starting DJ. Is it the $475,000 NIL deal? Because guess what, buddy? At this point, you're coaching for your job. And I do not think that Mike Norvell should be on the hot seat or be fired for one terrible season. But I would be extremely worried if I were Norvell about that seat getting hotter as the season goes on. If you continue to ride this train into the ground, this DJ train, he's not good. He's not going to win you a game. And he's more likely to lose you. And now, look, I know a lot of the focus goes on DJ. That's what I'm focusing on. But the whole team is bad. So it's not all DJ's fault. But he's still, you got to kick the tires on whatever you got behind him. You got to look towards next year. The season's over. For real, it's over. The season is over if you're a Florida State fan. I mean, there's still games to be played, but It's over. So everything you do right now, if you're Mike Norvell, has to be looking towards next season. And so I don't know what their plans are as far as if they got a high school recruit that they're recruiting that's going to sign, and maybe he's a hot shot freshman they could throw in there. If they're going to go in a transfer portal again and try to get another washed up quarterback from 3 other schools, or if they're going to take somebody they have currently on the roster. Hey, hold on now. Listen to this. Take somebody that's currently on the roster and develop them. Yeah, imagine that. 2024, developing players instead of grabbing them out of the transfer portal. Another thing Dabo Swinney was right about. Holy crap. Yeah, I would do that. I would take, I know that they did eventually bench DJ after they're getting blown out last night. And they put in, I don't even know what the guy's name is. Some kid that's never played before. And he went in there and did terrible too, but I don't know what you expect. But if he's the guy, then let's go ahead and roll with that guy. If you're Florida State, let's just, I mean, it can't be worse. It's not like you have anything to lose. You've already lost. You're screwed, man. Anyway, yeah, Clemson's going to beat Florida State by as much as they want to. And I have a feeling, we're going to see another 100 players played in that game like we saw a couple of weeks ago against NC State when they played like 96 players against NC State. That's probably what you're going to see against Florida State. That game will be over by halftime. I don't know what the line on that is. I'd be shocked if it was less than 30. I'd be shocked if it was less than 30. It might already be out. But Clemson by 100 this coming weekend. But, yeah, need to tighten up on defense. Need to tighten up on defense big time. And need to run the ball, Paul. That's what we need to do. Anyway, I guess that's going to do it. Nobody likes the State of the Fan address where Clemson blows people out, except for Clemson fans. If Clemson were to lose last night, there'd be tens of thousands of you in the comment section laughing at me. But when Clemson wins and looks good like they are and looks like a playoff team, nobody cares. But that's just fine with me. Anyway, y'all be safe out there. Y'all have a great rest of your Sunday, and I'll check in with you later. Your boy checking out.